everybody. Welcome back to Cantina MX Football Podcast. I'm your host tonight, Jaime Landeros. We're on Twitter Spaces tonight, so if you want to say something, feel free to speak up. We're also streaming live on YouTube in case you just want to chat with us. Tonight, we're going to be talking about repachaje. We finally have our 12 finalists and the little engine that could. Pumitas up against Seattle for all the marbles in the CONCACAF Champions League final to happen this Wednesday after their first leg. We're going to talk about this and much, much more. But before I go any further, let's welcome the panel tonight. Joely, is your mic up?
Is this one better?
Yeah, that sounds better. We also got Super Elbow in the house.
Jóvenes, how are you guys doing? That mic on Joel sounds better, but he sounds stoned.
That's funny. I think we will be allowing people to speak up as we get deeper into the conversation. So for those that are on Twitter Spaces, just give us a few minutes to get this going, and we'd love to hear from you guys. This is why we have Twitter Spaces up. But we do have quite a bit of a show tonight. Joely, what you got for us, man?
Well, let me see. Liguilla is set. So you want to do a rundown of the teams? Well, first just looking at the standings, I think what we're seeing is probably the beginning of the end, or maybe that was when Tuca left Tigres. We've talked before how he should have when he should have retired. Some of us think after the club's World Cup exit in the big stage, but he finished last in Tigres, and some people thought he was gonna get sacked. But Tuca, he's never been sacked in his whole career. He's never been. He's left clubs, but he's always finished the season, so he has that Guinness record. I don't think it's gonna get broke.
Juarez got absolutely trumped 4-0 against Gallos de Querétaro. And there was a photo of him just on the bench. It looked like he was in shambles.
Yeah, sad to see it.
Despite that effort, Querétaro will be fined along with Tijuana, Juarez, and Toluca for their poor results. And from my understanding, all those fines, all that money goes to Liga de Expansión, the second division. It goes to that league. I don't know how it is distributed, but I'm assuming that the champion of Liga Expansión will get some of that money as a reward.
Some reward money? Yeah, so I don't know, really quick before we move on, what do you guys think will happen with the Toucan? Is he going to retire? I know he did this as a favor. He did this Juarez thing as a favor, but it's at this point, it would just be suicide for him to stay there another season. There's talk that there's already clubs interested. Should he just, hang up his boots and drive off in his Ferrari into the sunset? What do you guys think?
Dude, I think he's got too much of an ego to go out like this, man. So if there's another club that has an offer for him that will spend a good amount of money for him, I have a feeling he'll take a shot at it. But he should retire, man. He should have retired like we discussed before, man.
Yeah.
It was after that the
Clubs
World
World
Cup?
Cup?
Yeah.
Is he free to leave now? Was this just a one-year contract?
Dude, he's Tuca, man. He can leave whenever he wants. He's got money. His mattress, I don't know where he keeps it. Dude has a lot of money. He could have.
Wait, no, but is he like is his contract up with Juarez? Did he just do a 1 year?
I mean,
No.
even if it's not, it wouldn't matter. He he commands a lot of respect, and he's really good friends with the Juarez. I don't know if he's one of the owners or like a president who used to be at Tigres. That's the whole connection. Uh, just really quick reminder: he left Tigres because the whole, the board of directors did like a change up, and a new crew came in, and Tuca was part of the old guard.
So what you're telling me is if he is relieved of his duties at Juarez, he would be the number one candidate to coach Guadalajara.
Oh, Jaime, always steering us toward the flock of goats. Uh, it's a possibility, man. But yeah, it's a possibility. I don't know if Chivas wants to pay that much money. Tuca commands a lot of money.
We do know who will not be coaching Guadalajara, and that is Matias Almeida, who is just landed in Greece and he's looking to secure a job out there.
Seems like he already did, huh? He's just gonna go sign. What is it? Dot the I's and cross the T's.
So he's gonna go break some plates. What's happening right now?
Opa.
Opa!
Yeah, he's gonna go out there and for his sake, hopefully do more than break plates, man. The dude needs for him to get to some good clubs, man. The guy's got to get some wins, man. He's got to get some good results because we're talking. Was it one playoff appearance since he left Chivas, right? Or since he left Chivas, right?
Man, you mean with St. Joe?
With St. Joe, yeah. Like I get it.
Two, I think.
What's that?
I think twice.
No, he only went to one playoff.
No, it was only once.
Just once?
Yeah.
Are you telling me that the San Jose Earthquakes, the two-time MLS Cup champions, is not a prestigious club?
It is not. I mean, you and I being Bay Area natives know that the Oakland A's ownership owns that team, and well, as you can see, the issues with the Oakland A's,
they're trying to moneyball it.
They're being outdrawn by their minor league team in Vegas, man.
Oh, not good.
No, and so that ownership group won't spend. Now that said, I think Joel had put it before that Matias knew what he was getting into.
Oh,
by going there.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows anything about that ownership knows they're not going to get paid, or their players aren't going to get paid. So he needs to start getting some good results. If not, he's going to end up looking sort of like a flash in the pan, I think.
Well, my question was, because I don't know much about the Greek League. Do they have real relegation? Because then this is going to be, that's going to be it for him. I always felt with a good squad, he could produce the football champagne, but with the weaker teams, he's never been able to get much out of them.
I'm not sure what's going on. I tried to Google their results, and it says there's 14 teams in the league. They're currently in third. I don't know what that means as far as like if there is a relegation, but I think there is.
I think that's one of the stronger teams, so they should be fine. But we can't ignore like his results, where he ended with Chivas like 15th, 17th. Same with St. Joe, like really bottom of the table. And so with in leagues where there's like a real relegation, where at the end of the season, if you're last, that's it. Yeah, but I mean, that said, I'm with Codazo here. I wish him the best. I could see him returning to Liga MX.
We have Sergio Cruz in the YouTube chat. Thank you, Sergio Cruz, asking who is Super Elbow Drop.
The actual name is Christian. and I'm from originally from Redwood City, California, over in the Bay Area.
Yeah, and then the name is obviously a nod to the Savage One, Macho Man.
Absolutely. There's only one Savage One.
The guy that sold Slim Jims?
You ever try those things, man? You got to be a savage to actually want to try those things.
Yeah, dude, you eat a Slim Jim, then hairs is gonna start growing on your knuckles and on your chest, back of your neck.
What was the slogan for that? I just know it was hella intense.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
Step out
Ooh,
of a Slim
yeah.
Jim! Like, holy shit, dude.
He comes out in the Spider-Man movie. I think
He
it's the
plays
one with
Bonesaw.
Toby. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know this nerd stuff. But back to topic. As far as Mati goes, I do hope him and wish him the best of luck. We had some quite interesting results in the last match week of the season. A lot of fireworks, a lot of action going on. As we mentioned earlier, Querétaro with that 4-0 victory over Juarez. And we also had what I found to be the most entertaining match was the last one between León and Toluca. You had them going back and forth. It was 3-2, I think, at halftime. At the very end, León were able to tie the game up. They were down 4-3, and they were able to tie the game up because they were still in contention to qualify. And they almost scored a fifth one, but they missed it wide. So at the end of the day, León surprisingly will miss out on repechaje with 21 points, 13th position. That must hurt.
Yeah, we were talking about beginning of the end, so we have to ask: since the closing time for Nacho at Toluca, he came in. He hasn't been able to relieve his glory at León. You know, came back from Spain, and now the season didn't go too well for him. So ending up at 15th, who knows what will happen? I have faith on Nacho. Let's see what happens there.
The same faith that you had when he was at Huesca?
Yeah, but in Huesca, I always knew the ownership wasn't going to give him a fair shake. Hey, we saw what he did at León, man. Come on.
I think he gets the benefit of the doubt too at Toluca. They let him probably complete the full year at the club.
Yeah, well, man, but yeah, 15 doesn't look too good. And then for León, they recently let go of their coach, Olan. And but yeah, this team, they had a bit of a I don't know if I call it like pretty good run where they were reaching finals. They won under Nacho, and then they made the final against Atlas. But the squad is up there in age, so this could be them. They they peaked, and now they're just I don't know. I guess they're gonna have to rebuild soon.
They're getting old, man. They're getting old, and they shat their pants against the Seattle Sounders in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. They're just a former shell of themselves.
Ouch. And you know that they finished 13th. You said they just missed out, and who beat them to it was Masatlan, the new kids on the block. And I guess it's not being talked as much, but they're on a 5-game unbeaten streak with
That's right.
4 straight wins, and they beat some decent teams here. They beat Puebla, which finished fifth, and of course their coach is talk of the town.
And
so they beat Puebla. They beat defending champions Atlas.
Yeah, ironically, sorry to cut you off there, but by beating them, they're actually gonna face them again in the repechaje.
Oh, yeah, and well they beat Tucas Juarez, and then they beat Santos, another team that has sort of fallen by the wayside. And we've often wondered here, are they going to be the redheaded stepchild of Grupo Orlegui now that they own Atlas? And Atlas is, of course, a much bigger club. even though Santos has been way more successful. But they're in a small venue, and it's like, Atlas has the capability of if they have that type of success that Santos had, where it would just be more massive. They would um, just be taking up the headlines. So I do think Orlegi would. Well, I want to say they'll put all their eggs, but they don't fully own the team. I think Tebasteca still owns a percentage. So we'll see what happens there, though. Um, but yeah, interesting to see how some of these teams have shifted from where they were last season or two ago, and now they're sort of bottom of the table.
Masatlan, who didn't have the strongest start to the season, like you do mention, have gone on a really good streak right now, 5 unbeaten. And this game against Puebla, Osvaldo Alanis and Marco Fabian scored. So, uh, you know, add those to that Twitter thread that Chivas del Norte have former Chivas players, doing well in other teams. Um, but this Mazatlan team, and I've talked about form in the last couple episodes. It's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. And Puebla, who had a really good start to the season, and everyone's praising Larcamon. Right now, they've lost 3 straight, and you go into this 1-game elimination match against a team that's unbeaten in 5, and you're not the favorite anymore. All of a sudden, the 12 seed that somehow squeezed in has the advantage right now over Puebla, and also because they literally just beat you like that last week. So it's gonna be pretty nerve wracking for Puebla. And all of a sudden, I can see Masatlan winning this game again and upsetting a 5th seed.
Was that the result you would like?
I think they're just in great form right now. You can't go unnoticed.
No, I know, but you as a Chiva, and you're thinking the team's prospects.
Well, I'm happy
right?
for
Ernie, you
I'm happy for for Fabian because he was basically homeless. I mean, he didn't have he went to Juarez and he was doing all these cameos, and he they did for some reason let him go, and it took him a while to find a team. He even went on, was it ESPN
TV.
Deportes? He went on TV
Yeah, he was
over there asking for a job, man.
it was like those adopt a kid type commercials. Man, yeah, that's pretty sad to see, man. With players, it's the one thing why I always like defend when players sign in MLS, and I know fans are disappointed, but it's like players' career doesn't last that long. Fans aren't going to give a shit about them in a year or two. After they retire, they move on to the next best thing. So these guys have to, look after themselves and make sure that they have like something set up for when they retire, because not a lot of them are prepared for that. Some of them go to school, a lot of them don't. They'll blow through the money they made.
Yeah, what's Guli up to nowadays?
Yeah, that looked bad. That what was it, a TikTok where he's kissing a girl?
Yeah, the girl's like, "Oh,
And
I
she's
want to
like,
show this to my father. Say hi." And he just starts making out with her, and he just looks completely like just drunk, man. He's not even looking at the camera. He's looking through the
I thought he,
camera. I'm like, oh
I thought he
boy.
looked at home, man. He looked very at home.
he's
Just like all the rumors about him, right? I mean, dude completely threw away his career because he liked El Chupa a little too much.
yeah, he turned into that guy that si ya saben cómo me pongo, para qué me invitan.
That's right.
He's basically that dude now. But yeah, he had a very promising career. And then it just he disappeared at one point. I think it
He went
was
to
during a
Rangers.
he did. What's his name took him. They're never gonna forgive
Caixinha.
him for that. they're not gonna. They're not gonna let him back in Scotland for that one. He took the two Mexicans. He took, that one was Eduardo. Is it Eduardo?
He took
Who was it? The dude that was
he
at
took the striker.
Pumas.
He took the striker and he took Guli.
Yeah, I had higher hopes for the striker. I don't know what happened there.
Who was it again? It was
Damn, I can't forget, man.
Lalo something.
Lalo Herrera, was it?
Is it Lalo Herrera?
I think you're right.
If only
Yeah.
we could do an internet search. If only such a
Eduardo
thing.
Herrera. He's currently playing for Venados.
Yeah, I thought he seemed very promising, and then he sort of just disappeared.
See, I thought he hit the skids when Leon sold him over to Chivas, man. Remember
Wait,
he
he
was
went to
all
Chivas?
Are you talking
no,
about
I mean
Guli?
Gullit.
Good. Oh, okay. I was like, what?
You remember he was crying because he got sent over there.
He was. They were calling him El Lágrimas Esmeralda. Um, that guy sounds chilango, dude. I used to hang out with a few that.
Yeah, well, man, Lalo Herrera. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
He
But
met the criteria, man. Tall dude, good height. He had a lot of qualities, but it's tough, man. I think a lot of us as fans we don't realize how difficult it could be in soccer, man. There's thousands and thousands of players, every day trying out, and so to maintain your status, it could be very difficult. And then we'll compare some of the players to the elite few, and it's really tough, man. It's a really tough profession to be in.
well, Gignac made it look easy, winning his third top goal scorer award for Tigres. He scored 11 goals and continuing to be one of the best transfers of all time as far as Liga MX history goes.
Yeah, he's definitely up there amongst the best. Some people have passed out and said that he is the best, but there's other players with records. Cardoso's run. I think he scored about 30 goals between
29.
close, man, close between the season and Liguilla, and then you had like Cavino. So there's been some players that were just massive, but he's up there. Um, Comparing is tough, but yeah, he's definitely when it comes to Tigres, he's their icon, dude. They're gonna have the statue of Gignac in the outside the stadium.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, man. Too that I don't know whether he's fake or not, but he seems to have embraced the culture, the people, everything about it.
Well,
Where he lived over there in
he, he,
Monterrey, right? So I mean,
he was
dude,
only there a month, and people were already naming their kids after him.
you remember that. But yeah, for whatever reason, he seems to have embraced the culture and everything there, man. I think was it last week or over the weekend? I thought I saw this quote. I didn't read the article where he said that, you know, had he had the chance to pick between national teams, he would have picked Mexico.
Oh damn!
Crocodile
I got to see if I can.
tears.
But again, I think he kind of overblows it. But I think he's comfortable in Mexico, and he's created a hell of a fan base for himself.
Well, his
And
son will play for the Mexican national team, so we'll see.
There you go. That's going to be the real. What was it they called? Memo? Lemem?
Lemem.
Lemem.
I know Chaquito Jimenez. He's proud of playing for the Mexican national team. We'll see if Marcelo Flores decides to follow suit. We did have a friendly between Guatemala and Mexico during all this chaos with the Champions League and repechaje, or the last last week of regular season soccer. It was a pretty uneventful match, 0-0. And Tena is undefeated as coach of Guatemala. I know Joel's proud of that.
Dude, I have high hopes for him. Um, he ruined the Tris Molero game with the draw, and I think he's off to a good start. But I mean, with Central America, their federations, they have been very corrupt, and it's really hurt them a lot because they should have been more competitive, and instead we saw like the rise of you know, Caribbean countries like, uh, well, I mean, they were kind of always there, but I think they overtook them, like Jamaica, Trinidad, and then Panama. So these teams came up, but it should have been, they should have been more competitive, like the Honduras, Guatemala, Salvador. They could have been up there with Costa Rica and what Costa Rica did. Um, but a lot of corruption when you read into what's going on. El Salvador, for example, was it a year, 2 years ago? FIFA almost took away their, you know, they were gonna boot them out of FIFA, man. It's like that's how corrupt. They had to send people in there to manage their FA. Something similar, I think, happened in Guate. It's just a lot, dude. It was just too much, and it's hurt them. But I think once they start working, those teams aren't bad. That's why the region, has such a bad what's the word I'm looking for here, Codazo?
Bad rap.
Reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad rep because these teams end up not, for the most part they look weak, but we've seen what they've been capable of. We saw what Costa Rica did at the World Cup 2014. Uh, I don't know if you guys remember when Copa America invited 4 teams, I believe it was from CONCACAF. This is previous to the Centenario,
Yeah, they're
and it was
the year before, right?
I don't know if it was before or I have to search, but I remember Honduras was there and a couple of teams, and they had really good games. These guys were, they held their own.
Because Copa America Centenarios, where they invited various teams from CONCACAF.
Yeah, yeah, but they had done one like some years previous where they they did more teams, and I thought that was good. But then I don't, or was it because the U.S. declined? God damn, my mind plays tricks on me. Uh, but regardless, we've seen even in other tournaments how they've managed to hold their own. But that's not enough, in the grand scheme of things. You can't just do good in one tournament and then fizzle out, which is kind of what happened to Costa Rica. They weren't able to build from that 2014. They sort of just disappeared. Instead, Canada, where we see Canada, that's where I know a lot of people thought that was going to be Costa Rica. They were going to be the third grande, entre comillas. But then they sort of fizzled out, and now we see Canada. And I do think Canada is going to maintain, at least competitive in the region. I do feel they're going to stay one of the stronger teams.
Somewhat related, Ecuador might have fielded an ineligible player that was not born in Ecuador. His name's Brian Castillo. So Ecuador might be out of the World Cup. Chile is definitely trying to get that investigated.
Because then they would go in, right?
That's right.
Chile's trying to, man. Damn, Chile's sketch like that. They should just like, accept it. I know they tried to years ago. They tried to cheat Brazil. There was a game they were playing against Brazil, and they threw a firecracker was thrown by the goalkeeper, and they ended the game, and they tried to say it was an injury, and they tried to get the win like that, and became a big thing. And I think it got investigated. I don't remember if they just gave him an L or if they just got if they eliminated them. Like they were like, all right, you guys are done.
I'm not sure, but that is one of the
Yeah,
things
but
that is happening right
but
now.
yeah, these are. See, I'm not forgiving those guys. I still remember they make the whole big fuss about the fiebre porcina.
What's that? Oh, the swine flu. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the swine flu. That was
Oh
the
yeah.
precursor to COVID, man. That was, uh,
Yeah,
and he was.
there's also a rumor that Mexico might get fined
Oh no,
for those chants.
no. They said they're not fighting them anymore.
No,
I thought it was for something else. Not the chance. But
Hey, once
no,
I didn't catch the article.
the games against Panama, the qualifying matches. They're saying that they might get in trouble for that.
no, they I know they released a statement saying that there was going to be no more fines, and I'm pretty sure once that FIFA World Cup sponsorship money was locked in, they're like, all right, nothing to worry.
Oh,
Carry on.
FIFA fined Mexico 17,000 Swiss francs for the use of lasers in the game against the United States and
Lasers.
delay at the start of the game against Panama and El Salvador. There was no sanction for shouting.
Yeah, see that told you that the shouting. That's it. Yeah, they forgot about it already.
Yeah, another thing to take note is Infantino was at the game between Pumas and Seattle, the Champions League final, and he also paid a visit to El Estadio Azteca. Do you guys think that it could possibly be the final stadium for the World Cup in 2026?
The only reason I'm going to say no about this is because the almighty dollar is not coming. Uh, it's not the almighty dollar that they're going to collect, right?
No, the ticket stays the same. Don't
Are you
matter.
sure?
Yes, sir. I think because the U.S. is the main host. If anything, it will be the apertura. Do they get the opening match?
So that's sort of what I went with. So they would probably do it at Azteca, right? The opening match.
Yeah, if I mean if they because the U.S. is the main one, so if I guess if they're cool with it, um, they'll give them. But no, I don't think the U.S. would let go of that. The final,
Yeah.
that's too much juice there. That's too much gravy. Um, but no, ticket and sponsors, all of that's locked in.
Well,
Codazo, so they
yeah.
don't lose money in that.
The reason I mentioned this is, you built this beautiful stadium in LA and they failed. They had an oversight. They realized that after all the billions that they spent building this stadium, it is not eligible to host a World Cup match because the field is too narrow or something like that. So
But I mean, I
I
think it's
think,
something they could fix easily.
yeah, but I mean, think about it. If you're really serious about trying to host the World Cup and trying to impress the president of FIFA, and you built this stadium and you don't even care or even try to realize that there are certain restrictions and dimensions that a field must
Yeah,
be like it's just the impression. The first impression is like, oh, these guys don't even care about
but
soccer.
but it the thing I will say is that it's different, like different So that stadium was mainly built for pointy ball,
So,
and
yeah,
then it's
that was
yeah,
specialized for that too. Yeah.
and then it's a bonus if we could get a World Cup game here, then that would be just start giving the stadium some more cred.
Now,
Um,
now I'm guessing the Rose Bowl is a little bit outdated, but there's still the stadium in Dallas, and that fits over 90,000 people, right? So they could certainly host a World Cup final in Dallas. It'll draw.
Yeah, and then there's the Raider one in Vegas.
Yeah, but that one's only I think about 60,000 people. So
Oh, it has to be. It has to be. I forgot.
I think
yeah,
the
they
final has to host minimum 80,000, if I'm not mistaken.
right. So that leaves you pretty much AT&T Stadium in Dallas and the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, no, you're right. Rose Bowl's outdated. They're not getting. They're not
No,
getting. So then that leaves what is the LA one, Jaime? Do you know how?
so SoFi I think has about 85 to
Oh,
90,000.
so then they could. I guess if
Well, they would have
they
to
open it
switch
up.
things up. Yeah, and again, they just spent I forgot how many billions of dollars on that thing. I can't see them
It would
really.
probably be in New Jersey, the Giants Stadium. They fit 82,500.
Is it new or is it?
It's newer. Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
it
2010. That would be my guess. When they did it in '94, was the final in Washington?
No,
94?
94 was Rose Bowl, wasn't it?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, it was.
The final?
It was in
Yeah.
Pasadena.
Oh shit, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I'm looking at
but yeah,
Wikipedia, and the largest stadium in the United States is a college stadium, Michigan Stadium, over 107,000 capacity. But I doubt they would do a college stadium.
right.
In fact,
That-
the first, the first 14 on this list are all college stadiums.
mhm. Yeah, no, but I think like you mentioned, possibly that's the stadium in New York or Dallas, just because again, not only do they have a lot of seats, but they have the luxury suites which they could sell for a much higher cost, right? Or whatever that fixed rate is. So
Well, I don't think they. Yeah, they wouldn't. I don't think they would sell them even to the normal fan, the average fan, I should say.
right.
Goes to all these big companies, other corporate, to the other FIFA, big wigs, presidents of the federations and whatnot.
To Zuckerberg and Elon Musk.
They, yeah, they'll get in there. But yeah, the federativos, of course, they get to dip their hands in that.
Right.
It's a massive World Cup. It's a massive business moneymaker because other governments and cities, they make money off of it too. Um, we were talking about it not too long ago about Brazil. You know how they had to build stadiums,
Right.
and some of them were just built in venues where there wasn't even a soccer team, or at least a soccer team big enough to be able to play. In a stadium like that, and how they're just abandoned. But it's not just building a stadium. Then you have to see about roads and hotels, and so these are all contracts that are being drawn up, and then cement and not. It's so much stuff that goes in, and that's where all the money comes in, and who gets these contracts, who owns those companies. It's a
Mhm.
lot of money there. That's the big business there, man. It's a hella big business, and then selling the tickets. Who gets to sell them? Who has it's crazy. It's crazy to think about it.
So what you guys are telling me is, El Estadio Azteca will either open or close the big
I
dance.
don't think they'll close. I don't think they're closing.
Yeah.
If you're the US, why would you give that game away, man?
Right. And again, I've never been to Azteca, but I imagine that the suites are uh, are not as many as they are in the
No, they
U.S.
built more because Azteca has been reduced. They
Yeah,
were, I think, at close to
Okay.
110, and they built more luxury.
they have
Is
more
he gonna
more
go?
VIPs, more VIP.
Well,
Uh,
so could go now, get his sopa maruchan.
Mainly because of
And
the amount of NFL games that they host, they wanted to accommodate
there
those
you go.
fans, and
Anything you do, it's all about money, man.
they
Yeah.
do have plans on I can't even say the word rene. They're going to basically
Renovating.
Drawing.
renovating the stadium. Uh,
They did,
Yeah.
yeah.
No. I guess I stand by that. I think maybe they open the World Cup. Uh, but
They
yeah,
have
I have a
they
hard
have to
time
at
thinking.
least. they have to at least open it, man. That's hollowed ground, dude. That's Maradona and Pelé, man.
Yeah.
They
No,
they graced that field.
no stadium's done it 3 times.
Okay, and that. I mean, they're gonna get a game, so they will get the 3 times. But I think it's such a historic stadium that they should at least open the tournament there.
And Marcelo Flores will lead Canada to victory. I mean, Mexico.
he, he's already looking like three material, man. Not being able to. He comes with all those high expectations. We seen those golazos at Arsenal, and then he can't do that to the Chapines. Those like Fallas Mori and all those other dudes.
He keeps
Yeah,
getting bum minutes,
yeah.
but
Those players at U23 must not be that great, man.
I keep telling these guys, man, because the Olympics and they don't. Ah, uh, you know, la raza. They don't.
And
Don't
everyone's
get it.
I think the kid will be a talented player. I don't know how talented, but hey, let him grow up. Let him grow up. I get it that he also is being a little bit impatient. It seems like with being wanting to
Yeah,
be taken,
I
but
think Canada has been, pumping sunshine up his ass and saying, "Hey, we'll take you to the World Cup. Your tickets here, man."
you think you ain't playing, but your ticket's right here.
Yeah, they.
Because Canada's talented enough to not even need to play him at all. They're good. They're a pretty good team.
they got a good
They
squad.
are, they are, but you want depth, at the end of the day, and I think they're also thinking into the future.
Yeah.
So that's that, man. But yeah, it's getting it's like Uno, man, where you could swipe cards. So I know the Mex just took two players, right, from the Cowells.
The
Jaime, you know this better
Cowls,
than me.
Cade and Chance, yeah, they're both wrapping up their Mexican citizenship, and they're gonna be
I saw
eligible.
their Twitter. I saw their Twitter handles with the little Mexican flags.
Oh, they ready. They
No,
realize
didn't one of them play in a U15 tournament
you could
recently?
you could, but they changed the rules, so I think that doesn't cap tie you. I mean, that doesn't tie you to the selección no more.
Cade already played for United States, but it was for the it was a corny ass name for the tournament, but yeah, he played for the United States against Mexico. Um, it's I forget what it was, like the Discover tournament. I don't know whether it was some weird name, but yeah, doesn't mean that he hasn't played in an official match though, so he definitely can switch.
No, and I think even if you were to play, I think it's as long as you're under 18. Uh, but they did some rules to change that not so long ago.
Yeah,
So I mean, if they're getting their Mex passport, that means that they're eligible.
yeah. Speaking of who's eligible, we got to talk about the little engine that could. We had Pumas, who had a tough match at home against the Seattle Sounders. Juan Ignacio Di Neno scoring a brace, and it all seemed like gravy for Pumas over there in El Estadio Olímpico. Unfortunately, they allowed Seattle to get back into the match, and before you knew it, the last closing minutes of the match, Seattle tie it up, and in my opinion, own the psychological battle there. And they get to close in at home in Seattle with a 2-2 aggregate score. What do you guys think about that match on Wednesday? Do you think Pumas have a chance? Or do you think that Seattle will be the first MLS club to win this in over 20 years?
Yeah, I think Seattle are favorites. Pumas has to play repechaje, and that's gonna tire their players. I know they've been doing the both tournaments, and they've been trudging along. So I do feel that. But I mean, Pumas has shown that never die attitude. So I don't want to descontarlos like that, but I do think Seattle are favorites.
I do too. I think the last podcast. I also said that Seattle would uh, would likely win this. Um, I think I'm going to stick with that. I know Pumas has had a gutsy attitude and stuff like that too, but their last so many games haven't been all that great. I think aside from the game versus Pachuca, let's see, they had that draw with Seattle. They lost to Chivas, lost to San Luis, and then before that they beat Monterrey. But prior to that, there was a couple of draws. So I mean, I don't know. I'm going to go with Seattle.
Yeah,
I think they break that 16-year curse.
between their schedule and injuries, yeah, it's been a tough road for Pumas, and they don't have that much of that depth, in their squad, and so all of those things will factor in.
We don't know if Alamoso will play that match, so that is a big blow for Pumas. I'm still going to go for them because they are representing Mexico, and I just cannot stand Seattle. I cannot stand Seattle. I just got back from there. I cannot stand the city or their fans. And I will always support a Mexican team um, when they are being represented in a Champions League or a Club World Cup. Even if it's America, I will still rather see them win than the U.S. and the MLS. And I do think that Seattle will be in their own heads. They have everything to gain, right? They're at home. They did close pretty strong on the road, and they have everything like handed to them on a silver platter. Would not be surprised if the refereeing goes in their favor as well. I know everyone's wanting to make this a rivalry, and I know the United States and the MLS have been waiting for an opportunity to finally say, haha, we got you. We beat you in the Nations League. We beat you in the Gold Cup final. Now we got MLS teams winning you in the Champions League. So uh, they have everything ready to go. I'm sure they already got all the celebrations ready and the parade thing ready. So I would love to see Pumas get the results. I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think it is. It might even go down to penalties.
Let's not confuse things, Jaime. I think Seattle may win it. That doesn't mean I'm not gonna that I'm waving the pom poms for them. I'm still gonna root for the Mexican team, man. I have zero interest in watching a MLS team win this tournament.
Well, gents, I'm gonna be a Contreras here. Uh, I think it's good for the tournament. It it and for the rivalry between the leagues, that ultimately you're not gonna take that rivalry serious if you're always beating them. So if they get a win here and there, then that's always gonna make these matches more intense. That's what I'm looking for, gents. Some intensity.
I want Libertadores, damn it.
I, I want it too, man. Uh, they teased us like a few weeks back
I know, man.
with you know, just Pachuca and Leon or something like that.
So, Joel, let me get it straight. You want Seattle to win?
No, it's not that I want them to win. I'm just saying that if they did win, I'm seeing the positives in it where, you know, it, like you said, it gives the other side, something to banter about. And I could tell you're going to hate hearing that. The whole, we beat you here, we beat you there, we own you. And that when teams face again, that makes you want to see the match, or want to watch the teams win or beat the ex rival even more. So that's where I feel that, yeah, it is lacking because 16 years stronghold. I can see why, and a lot of fans belittle the tournament until their team wins it, and then it's a good tournament. But other than that, it's like they'll call it weak sauce. But I mean, I want the tournaments here to be as exciting.
You want that guy to win? That guy. No siree, Bob. I cannot allow that to happen. It's gonna be another season where Liga MX upsets and pulls the rug right under MLS. I mean, you look at that game against Chivas and Toronto. We almost fucked that up, man. They had to go to penalties, and everyone thought
And they're at
Toronto was
home.
the better team. Everybody said that, oh, Chivas were 17th at the time, and Toronto had Bob Bradley and or whatever his name is, his son.
Jovinko. Don't forget Jovinko was
Oh
there.
yeah, Jovinko. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they had a better team on paper. Everyone said, but at the end of the day, they still managed to lose that match. So I'm going for Pumas. I think they'll get it. I think they'll get the result, and then after that, they're gonna get that beat down from Chivas because they they are gonna face them in repechaje. Chivas closed the show against Necaxa. Cadenas winning his 4th straight, and that puts Chivas in a pretty good spot. 6th position, 26 points, and they will face Pumas. They get an extra day off, so they'll play Pumas at home, but on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to
They
that.
agreed, right? They agreed to move the game. So
Canelo
Pumas
gave a
has
call in
the-
and said, "Hey, man, I want everybody to watch my fight, so move Chivas to Sunday night."
that also plays into it, even if we don't,
This is true. Yep.
because if you're Chivas, then you would not give your rival that extra time to recover. You might say it's a bitch move or whatever, but they've done it to Chivas a lot of times, man. That's happened to Chivas before, where teams did not,
Remember
especially when they.
when we played the Confederations Cup, and then we literally had to fly the players over
Yeah.
to play that semifinal against Paranaense, and the players literally played like 2 games in one day. It was insane.
Yeah, see, so I mean, I do, yeah. I forgot about that boxing match, and that probably plays into it as well, Televisora.
If you watch that fight, Joel, you can yell out, "Fight and win."
Nah, I haven't. I don't really watch boxing.
So yeah, we have the official matchups. Puebla will play Masatlan again. Masatlan 5-game unbeaten streak. Puebla whimpering into this repechaje. They will be at home, but they've lost 3 straight. Chivas will host Pumas. You have Monterrey versus San Luis. Seems like a layup for Rayados. And you have Cruz Azul versus Necaxa. And you have 4 teams that will just be watching this from home. Pachuca ended up in first place with 38 points. Tigres in second. Atlas in third. And America is also unbeaten in 5. They got that 4th spot.
They went from bottom of the table to qualifying directly, which not that surprised. This is a team that had been finishing top of the table. The only thing was they would crash, in the first round of the Liguilla. But yeah, they've been quite consistent. We've talked about this before, Jaime, just how they managed to stay at a pretty consistent level for a long time, which is difficult to do. Just, I guess, for America fans, they're just they were used to, for all these years, America being the main team, like the team that would bring in all the best players and they would play some of the best football. But that hasn't been the case for a long time now. But that doesn't stop Chivas as well with the Campeonísimo rhetoric, and they still expect them to, as if they were like that, and they haven't been like that for years.
So for these matchups, I do want to remind everybody that there is no away goal rule. It is a single game elimination match. If they end up tying, then you will go straight to penalties, no extra time.
I prefer that rule.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it either. I think I guess I didn't even have the issue with the away goal rule, but whatever. Just get somebody to win these damn games.
As far as these matchups go, first one, Cruz Azul Necaxa. Who do you got?
Oof. Wow.
You say
Okay.
Cruz Azul Necaxa?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those games could go either way.
Yeah.
What are they calling Necaxa? The something Lamborghini, the Jimborghini or what?
Hadn't heard.
Yeah, because they were on a good run until Chivas beat them. But they've been on. I mean, that's another coach that we need to talk about. The bronze medal winner, and he comes back. People were asking he would be perfect for Chivas, and he ends up in Necaxa. He's doing a good job, so
They
that's
did beat Tigres 2-0 2 weeks ago, so I thought that was their noticeable victory.
yeah, they beat Puebla as well, which is Larcamón and Puebla was one of the main teams. They were like between first and third for most of the season. So to beat Puebla, they beat Tigres. They put the hurt on San Luis 4-2. So they had 3 wins. Let me see, one. Yeah, they had 3 straight wins, and
yeah, they lost to Atlas, went on a three game winning streak, and then we beat them.
yeah, they've managed a couple good wins. They beat Cruz Azul as well, and who else they beat? I guess they improved because earlier on they had some. Let me see. I'm looking at it wrong. They they started the season losing to Juarez, uh, and then that got followed by a 4-0 defeat to Monterrey, and then they jumped back 4-1 win over Santos, and they got smacked down again by Pachuca 3-1. They beat Cruz Azul. They tied Tijuana. They lose to León. They tie Masatlan. They lose to Toluca. They they've been like quite normal, I would say. I just think Cruz Azul has sort of lost a bit of pep in their step, but I do think Cruz Azul is a stronger team.
You know,
I guess
my conspiracy theory. Um, what was that movie about like the baseball team, the Indians?
Major League.
Yeah, I got a feeling they got a
that's
photo of the owner, because she does own the team, a percentage of it. Eva Longoria. Maybe there's a full nude photo of her, and every time they win a game, they get to remove a
they
little
strip.
piece of her clothing off. That's my theory.
But that was before the internet, Jaime. They've probably already seen photos, even if they're Photoshop.
I don't know. Maybe she
I don't think that would work.
took one for the team, man.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing that I forgot. They're under the new ownership,
Yeah,
so it's good
they got gringos
to see
looking at
them
them now. They have to perform.
it's, it's good they're doing more than just creating an NFT for the club. So that's they're they're there, man. I think they got step one of the get the team in playoffs. I think that's a good start. I think they could build from that. So
Wow, so you guys are underestimating Cruz Azul here. They did finish.
no, I know.
Well, you guys are all going towards Necaxa, and this one is what it sounds like.
No, I wasn't. I'm just saying that Necaxa has done good enough for the, with their whole rebuilding. with ownership and whatnot. So to me, I feel that they've like they could build from this, even if they got eliminated. They could build from this because they got a good coach, and then they just bring in some better players. So I think they've laid a pretty good foundation. I still think Cruz Azul should be favorites.
Man, I'm having a hard time with this one.
It's a
I go,
pretty evenly contested match. They did. I mean, it's 8 versus 9, so I mean, it's literally like right there. They're very close.
yeah, no, I think for me, the one thing that has me a little hesitant on going for Cruz Azul is if you take a look at their last so many games, they haven't had a whole lot of firepower. They're struggling to score, right? A little
And
bit.
Necaxa did beat them
Yes,
during the season
Necaxa beat
game.
them, and Necaxa seems like every so often they have a game where they do score a good amount of goals, right? And
Yes,
so
they busted it a few times. You are correct, sir.
It's a great observation there, Elbow, because Cruz Azul hasn't really scored much. In fact,
no,
their last goal was match week 15.
yeah, they're a little they're la pólvora está mojada, right? So
Damn.
I'm gonna go with Necaxa to pull off the minor upset, man.
Oof. Yeah, I've seen some people already upset. They don't like the Cruz Azul.
What's that?
They're turning on the coach. I've been hearing some
That is something I
disgruntled,
heard too. Yeah,
Really?
and it's like, dude, this guy got you a championship after what, 17 years, and he got you back on playoffs. I mean, cut him some slack, man. But we'll see what happens there, man. I know there had been, because I think he tried to quit. I don't know if you guys remember. They were saying that he had presented his resignation.
That's right.
yep.
And so I don't know what's going on there. Because I know someone left from the directiva, and I think it was the person that brought him. And sometimes a lot of that stuff plays into, like if there's like turmoil in there in the club, sort of like for the Chiva Hermanos when you had Higuera and wasn't getting along with Almeida, and you had all this like tug of war going in, and it obviously affected the team, and they're just having horrible season. So who knows what's going there at Cruz Azul, man? We keep inviting Cementeros, but they keep turning us down, man. I don't know what. I'm like, these are you're champions now, recent champions, so it's safe. It's safe. Not only that, I mean, because remember, they've kind of that thing that's gone away was the Cruz Azuliar,
This
right?
is true.
You don't really hear it no more. And this is one with some of Americanistas. If you're listening, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think America hasn't been able to beat them in like, if I saw the stat right, it was like 7 games, I think.
Is that what it was? Yeah, it's been a while, right?
Yeah, they haven't been able to beat them, so they've managed to turn a lot of things around. So, man, that's what we hear a lot about is Pueblo champagne, man, and the fans. If your team's not playing that fancy soccer, they start turning on you, man.
All right, so
Like,
you guys been having some pretty compelling arguments, but you won't pick a gallo yet. So what do you guys got? Cruz Azul and Necaxa?
Oh no, I picked it. I went with Necaxa with the minor upset.
damn. I'm gonna go with Cruz Azul, man.
Oh,
Amen.
wow. All right. I like it. I'm going to go for Ever Longoria's team just because, I don't know, Cruz Azul's had a pretty disappointing campaign. They were eliminated by Pumas in the Champions League. And, they did.
Put them out of misery.
I think they've won enough silverware for another 30 years, right? I think the fans will be happy. If you are listening on Twitter Spaces, feel free to speak up. We'd love to hear you guys' predictions for these repechaje matches and also the Champions League final. Pumas Seattle. Just hit the little request to speak and we'll let you hop in on the conversation. Rayados and San Luis face off on Saturday as well. And to give you guys a little bit of context, when they matched each other up in regular season play, San Luis actually beat them 2-0. This was back in February, so it has been some time. But what do you guys think? Rayados
I think
or San Luis?
I'm gonna go with Rayados based on what we've talked about in the past before, whether it was on chats or on here. Vucetich knows how to manage in a liguilla, and that's
Yes,
going to
sir.
be the difference. And he's got a stronger team than he did with Chivas, right? So that's my pick for that one.
Same, same. You stole the words out of my mouth. I think he could look average during the season, and then once they go into Liguilla, he'll squeeze out those wins. I mean, he took Chivas to the semifinals not too long ago.
Feels like
with
a
a
long time
depleted
ago.
squad. With a depleted squad to boot.
Yeah, I think that the team itself can awaken during Liguilla. However, Rayados have been on they've had some upset defeats in repechaje. The one that comes to mind is the one where they got eliminated by Puebla. So I honestly think that it could go either way. I'm going to continue to go for the underdogs and have San Luis see if they can get this upset.
Ooh.
We have Puebla versus Masatlan. I think we've talked about it already. But again, Puebla not coming in at the best form. Masatlan on a 5-game undefeated streak. What do you guys got?
Hot hand. I'm going with the hot hand on this one. I'm going with Masatlan.
Oof. Yeah, I think if Mazatlan wins, then the Larcamon flame starts to extinguish. Because not too long ago, right, they were putting him at America, they were putting him at Chivas, almost handing him the selección. If you were to read some fans, and yeah, ultimately he's gonna have to win. Just doing good throughout the season is it's not enough if you want to be in the bigger, take over the bigger teams. You need some silverware. I think they've been at the cusps, uh, and I think they have that experience over the other team. So I think Larcamon pulls this one through, man.
Well, our fate will be in Puebla's hands. If Puebla wins and we win, we will match up against Atlas.
But we saying
Chivas, sorry. And if Puebla loses, Chivas will end up facing America. So just keep that in mind. I think everybody wants to see a Chivas America matchup instead of a Chivas Atlas, but that's just me. We have Chivas Pumas on Sunday. By that time, Pumas will be already had played their match midweek between Seattle, and they'll have a long flight back and probably tired and on just a lot of stress, a lot of physical drainage. So I think Chivas are a favorite against Pumas. We did beat them, right? So we do have the psychological advantage. And I wish Chiquis was here for this because it's going to be a big week for him. They could potentially go 0-2.
Yeah, they could crash out in both tournaments. It would be considered a fracaso, but I wouldn't go that far. Just giving Pumas how they're on a low budget, man, and they managed to remain competitive in two tournaments.
Yeah, I think like you said, it's a lower budget team. They've been running hard on two tournaments, and again, injuries are a question. And even if they get their injuries back, what what condition are they going to be in, right? They're likely not to be 100%. I'm going to go with Chivas.
Same. And you know, it sucks to see Pumas like if you're a Puma fan, because it's like, how much better would that team be if it was, you know, the Directiva invested more money instead of like, you know, they're just penny savers. You know, they're like those shoppers that go with a bunch of coupons. Um, that's kind of how they seem, like just very, you know, they just wait they wait for the Black Friday to see what they could come up with. But I do think they're a team that should be more relevant.
We have Al Pastor hopping on. What are your thoughts, Al Pastor?
I think if Pumas wins the Champions League, they're gonna come out super motivated. That tiredness or whatever is not really gonna be that big of a factor. I think they win that Seattle game just on motivation alone. They would actually be the team to beat. And Dineno, that boy is hot right now. He's like the CONCACAF version of Benzema. Whatever ball he touches, he puts in.
Yeah, we've highlighted that dude a couple times here, and how Pumas has managed to find some gems there, and how this guy's career, if you look at his career, it wasn't, you know, there wasn't much to talk about there. Because we were comparing him to who's that guy, Jaime, from
The Peruvian?
no, no, we were comparing him to the Mexican striker.
He's
He was
Peruvian.
he was, oh, he's half. That's right. Yeah, you threw me off. But because they're both same age, same height, you know, they were both doing good in the next season. And then if we compare like their trajectories night and day, man, you know, Mexican dude, that was like his first full season at Puebla. While Dineno had,
Ormeño.
there you go. There you go. Wow, Dineno had just, even if he went to some of these lower leagues, Ecuador and whatnot, he just had back full of games. And but yeah, he's been one of the he's been he's been fired. The only thing that surprises me is I haven't heard anything of clubs wanting to go after him.
Oh, you
I
already
know
know Tigres is gonna get him.
you think Tigres
America.
will get him?
Player
America or
goes to
Tigres?
Because Pumas, they won't. They will be like, all right, if they meet the price, you know, they'll be like, all right, take them.
I think they'd be foolish to have that happen. I know they did that with Nico Castillo, but you know, at that point, Nico Castillo was ready to go. But I mean,
But
we do see this time and time again where they do sell their best players.
they're like Gonzalez go to Tigres too, right? And I'm sure a bunch of other guys to Tigres. I feel like any good player they come out with, like
Coco Liso.
yeah, like Tigres is just ready to swoop up.
So, what do you think? You think Pumas will win that final in Seattle, or do you think the MLS team will finally pull it off?
All I know is I don't know if Madrid's gonna beat City, but I know Benzema's gonna score. I don't know if Puma's gonna beat Seattle, but I know Dineno's gonna score.
Wow.
So if I'm putting my bet, it's gonna be on those guys to score.
Okay.
Who knows what'll happen after that?
Fair enough. He did score both goals in that final, the first leg, and we'll see if he has any jam left.
He scored the 2 against Pachuca too, right?
I think did he score both of them? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Boy's hot, I'm telling you.
Well, Seattle's pretty cold, so we'll see if he can light a wet match over there. And that's pretty much all we have for tonight. Joel, do you have any notes there? Any closing thoughts?
No, I guess I'm still surprised we went almost the whole pot and Jaime didn't really talk much about Chivas.
Yeah, I tried not to.
So I think what's been one of the topics is Cadena, of course, and does he stay at the club? That's it's a topic there. Some people are saying if he wins, just a bit it's a bit too much if you ask me. Um, but yeah, I, I would ask you first. What do you think is going to happen there with?
Well, at this point, I like the way the team's playing. I like the way he has the team organized, the formation. Everything's working right now. I would hate to see him go. I would love to have him just stay, regardless of what result he gets against Pumas. I think he's earned the right to coach the team for the season, and I feel like he's the one that knows these players the best since he's been coaching Tapatio and he's been with the team for a while. So, and I just don't know who could come in externally, like a foreigner or whatever, and replicate this kind of success he's had with the team. I know it's such a short time frame to judge him on his results, but I mean, he's on fire right now.
I think it comes down to whoever's in charge, right? Whether it's Pelais or if the Leaños still have influence, right?
Well, I don't. I think Lano was made to cool off, but there is the whole Amaudi and his what is it brother-in-laws and the Maudi family there that's on the board. There's been rumors that they've been pushing for changes and whatnot, so that could also play into it.
Man,
Yeah,
Pelas needs to leave.
Elias needs to leave, but see if we see right now where the team is at, that's part of his project.
That ain't
If we
his
see,
project. Bring Cadena up. That's like his
but
project was after they got rid of Vuse. He should have been looking for a quality coach and kept Leaño, as an interim. Well, they actually found someone of quality.
but
That
but
whole Leaño thing went to trash, and now all right, we're gonna put in another assistant. Well, we quote unquote figure out there is no like deep level planning there going on, and that's his whole job.
but see,
He's
look,
been failing, and
this
just
is
how
the
Cadena is coming from the systems. Cadena's giving good results. Put in someone in that role that would give good roles, that knows the institution and knows the team, like Ramon Ramirez. Ramon Ramirez has been begging for that position. I'm sure he would kill it.
yeah. Well, see, the first we have to see what the project is. Project is not just because you put a coach. Project is the whole, you know, promoting of the players and building of a squad. So it's a lot into it. When we see Leaño, he didn't put Leaño there. Leaño came in because his own. He sort of he sort of just took over and he pushed his way in there and he just took over.
So that speaks even more reason why he should be out. You let some punk who has no history punk you out of your decision making,
Well,
and it
that's the
wasn't
thing.
just
You
because
can't say no
Leaño took
history,
over.
but you can't
It's
say he
because
does.
how many coaches that Ricardo brought in failed. So they kind
Well,
of
that's the
said, "All
thing.
right,
He
man, we
only
give you."
brought one.
He only brought
He
in
only brought
Vucetic.
Vuse, and you can't say he failed with Vuse. He took the team to a semifinals, and then he had the team finish eighth and ninth. I mean, we're talking about Chivas that went 5 seasons. They can't even finish top 10. 5 seasons finishing bottom of the table, and so they managed to revert that, where it's like semifinals, and now they're like they finished in eighth, and when they finished in those places, they weren't that far from sixth or fourth. They were about like 5 points, 4 points. So we're seeing some progress here. It's not. I know what fans would want, where it's like playing as a final, but I feel that you could see the, or at least you could see some improvements there going on. And the other thing that we have to notice how many players the team lost. They lost a lot of players, and they haven't been able to bring no one in. Teams
But
just
he
aren't selling.
players that he brought in.
Well, I mean, who? There's just no one there that they could buy. Where it was like he brought Antuna, and I know people don't like him, but that's a World Cup bound player. So at least he brought a player that made it to selección. And some of these other players, they haven't been that good, but he did make sure they were going to be promoting from the youth, and that's right now what we're seeing. Is not just Cascadena, this is a team that's been getting worked on since this dude arrived. So I mean, we have to look some of the coaches, but he didn't bring in. It was Tena. Tena was there when he came. So the only one he brought was Buse, and he didn't even kick him out. He, he had nothing to do there, where he lost a lot of respect. A lot of the people were saying he should have quit because they basically pushed him to the side and said, "All right, go take a seat. We're doing the decisions now."
I think Belaz has lost the trust of the fans. The fans, I think, have had enough of.
Long ago, man.
I think they've had enough of his shenanigans, and I think it'd be better for everybody involved for them to just part ways.
Because I think they blame everything on him.
Well, he deserves a lot of the blame.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know how much is in his power. Like, people are blaming him for Vega. I mean, is he in charge of doing
that's his
negotiating
job, man.
contracts?
That's his job.
Are you sure that's his job? Are you sure it's in this
Dude,
thing that
it's his job? This is like
sporting director.
That doesn't mean you're in charge of signing contracts or extending them.
Yeah, you're the sporting director. Your job is to figure out what's the best decisions for on the field. So if Vega's the best decision on the field, your job is to go convince your boss to spend
Well,
the money.
exactly, your boss. So the Mauri's on top. If
so
Amauri, as the owner, would have.
If he fails to convince Amauri to spend some money, he has failed at his job.
No, man. See, that's the thing.
Here's the thing.
It's like more than just convincing this dude.
I do agree that like people have this misconception that Peláez is the one that is responsible for the 11 players on the pitch. That's the coach. You know what I mean? The coach is the one that makes the decision who's playing in and week out. But who's the one that assigned that coach? Who's the one that hired that coach? And that's Peláez. Same thing with the players coming in and out. Whose job is that to bring players in and out? That's Peláez. So I think that he might not be like involved directly negotiating with Vega or whatever, but that is part of his job.
Yeah, I would say he would, I guess, recommend to the board, and that's a no-brainer. Like, any board worth their salt would know that Vega's a dude you have to resign. So, I mean, not resign, extend their contract. And if they can't do it, I don't think that has to do with Peláez, but more like, how much is Chivas willing to pay? So obviously they're not meeting that price, and I don't think Peláez has the say to be like, okay, we're giving you $2 million. He doesn't do the club's finances. He can't make those like promises of, I'm gonna pay you X amount.
But his job is to try to put a quality product on the field. But he's like that middleman between the owner and the coach. Like he kind of has that influence there. So if he hasn't been able to be successful that influence, or if he shouldn't be held that responsible for the product, then what is he doing there? You might as well just get rid of the middleman and just have the coach deal directly with the owner. Isn't that one of the reasons they got rid of Almeida? Almeida wanted more power. He wanted an influence on who came in and who went out as far as sporting director decisions.
Yeah, he lost that position to. They gave it to what is it, De Anda, and he didn't like that. But I mean, I think they gave him too much. The club gave it too much, and then they dialed it back. So I think that was the club messing up. But I feel that where the team is now compared to where it was before Peláez, to me, is better. People want to get rid of him, but then, okay, so who's going to replace him? Right? Because the coach is not going to do everything.
So
we can't think.
I do agree with the guys, though, that being a sporting director, it is up to you to make sure that the player gets paid and kept on the field and stuff like that. And I understand that ownership, might be the one not wanting to spend the money for it. That said, in Pelai's defense, you could put Ramon Ramirez, freaking what's his name, Nestor de la Torre, whoever's in there right now, and they're gonna start blaming him off the bat, man, for anything that they do. I think Chivas fans right now, we're too jaded of a fan base, and you lose one game and it's the end of the world. And so
Yeah,
I think really that's what it comes down to. I don't think Pelais has done an atrocious job. I think he could do a better job. But quite frankly, you could put anybody you want in there right now, and they're going to get the same type of blame as Pelais.
but see, what I'm going is the results he's managed to bring in, where the club is at least, you know, pushing to be like past mid-table, right? As going 5 seasons with no liguilla, finishing 15th, 17th, what is it, like 14th? I mean, so I mean, to me, he's been doing a decent job. Where it's like he's been able to. We've seen small improvements, but at least the team's no longer, not even part of liguilla. At least they're there. At least they're repachaje. Um, and so if he leaves, Amari doesn't manage the club. Who's going to manage it? His brothers-in-law that are not nothing to do with football. Like who's going to come in and replace him? You know, so that's the one thing to think about. There's not that many people right now that you could bring in, and Chivas as a club, their board is not. Their board of directors has shown to be very incompetent. They don't have something like Grupo Orlegui or Grupo Pachuca where they got their shit together. They don't matter what coach they bring in because they have something set up that, like Pachuca, right? From one season to the next, the club improved. And that's because they don't rely on a coach to come in and do everything, which is what a lot of fans seem to think. All right, a coach comes in and he's going to build a squad and blah, blah, blah. But if it doesn't work out and he's out, then it's like you're starting all over again because you bring in another coach and then he wants to do his own thing. So a lot of times that's where like the sporting director or the board play a strong influence in at least maintaining. And that's one thing Chivas has done. They maintain the squad. They maintain a group of players. They debuted a good amount of players. There was, and I don't have it with me, there was a list of all the players that debuted under Buse and how many of Canteranos would play during a match. And it was a very good number. So I mean, I think they've been doing a good job of that, where that consistency is paying off now because you have these players that are some of these younger players that are now beginning to show results.
And I'm not saying by no means am I saying fire Pelais, but what I'm saying is that anybody you put in there right now is going to get blamed the same way as Pelais, and
Yeah,
that's just how jaded Chivas fans are right now.
and that's the thing. But there's like almost no one. Like there's not that many right now. It's basically gonna fall down to promoters,
Yep.
right? What promoter is gonna put his people in the club, which is something that was going on before Pelaez. So the guy was it Hurtado, right? And the media was saying he put Tena in. He had put Tena, Boy, and Cardoso, and then they took that picture where all of them are having like a lunch,
Yep.
and so
I
all of them
remember
work.
that.
Yeah, and then that means that guy says what players can go and who can. Who I mean, they basically manage your club. So I mean that I do think is probably gonna end up happening. Uh, some promoters gonna just take over and put his people and just manage it. I don't see Amaury. He doesn't really know about football. I don't see him, you know, doing any moves. And there's not that many like people you could bring. Maybe Alebrija out of retirement. Who who we got? People.
Nestor's out there, but he comes with Chepo.
He, and a lot of the fans hate him for whatever reason, even though if you go through his numbers, some of the most successful Chivas has been as far as like, the amount of liguillas, the amount of semifinals, and whatnot. There's him, like you said, but there's not that. I forgot the guy's name. He was at Monterrey. I forget his name, man. He was there when Buse was there, and his first run. He was one of the main dudes, and he was being promoted back when Chivas didn't have a sporting director or president, whatever. Man, they used different names, and they got Pelias. So, but I do think like because when Leaño came in and did the whole shakeup, I do think and I agree with with a lot of the journalists were saying that he should have quit out of like you know
Self-respect.
yeah, because see now he's getting blamed for a lot of shit he had nothing to do with. And this guy came and interrupted you know a proceso that had been going on for 2 years or whatever. Um, Damn, I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say? Ya se me chispoteó, man. Where was I going with this?
You were going about how Leaño came in, took over, and Pelais got blamed for it.
Yeah, damn. But no, for going back to Leaño, because Pastor, you were saying like he's he just has a lot of influence, man. His family and his ties to the club. He has a lot of influence. He's not just some random Joe that came in. It reminds me a lot of Higuera. When Higuera came in, he had a lot of sway with OmniLife and the board, and he booted out Nestor, and it's like that's when people are beyond your, they're at another level, man. You don't have much say there, and that's unfortunate that happened to Chivas, where it's like some dude just decided to come in and do his own thing because I guess he felt he could do better, and then he sort of he did it.
For sure, boys. That is why I didn't mention Chivas tonight. We could have a whole podcast dedicated to them. What I can tell you is I'm looking forward to Sunday, looking forward to the Canelo fight, and looking forward to seeing some Seattle tears on Wednesday. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of football between now and then. But do you guys have any closing thoughts before we wrap up episode 333?
No, just like you, looking forward to the games this weekend. In particular, the Sunday game, uh, and just really hoping we get a good result and continue riding this heat wave that Chivas are on, man. It's nice to see. It's been a while since we've had 4 wins in a row.
Since 2016, if I'm not mistaken.
Since Almeida, when Chofis beat Monterrey, and then they went on the because that's when they were going on the relegation, if I'm not mistaken. That's the season they were like relegation bound.
Okay, it's been that long. Is that 6 years?
It's Chivas, and if we did Jaime and I, we went through Chivas numbers, and if man going back Jaime, like 20 years, and their numbers are bad, dude. They're atrocious. The amount of times they miss Liguilla, not once, not twice, but 3 times, 4 times, and recently 5. It's too many. It's a lot.
Well, you got to take a look at the coaches that we've gone through as well during this period.
Yeah, but see, and then again, I'm gonna say it's the directiva, man, because
Yeah,
look what we're seeing with Grupo Orlegui, with Grupo Pachuca. They could switch coach, and the team it's not gonna affect the team. And I think it's even with the coach, it has to be like the promoters again that are tied to the coach who decide what players can come in or who because when Tena left, I feel that was that was extra football. I don't think Tena was sacked over his results. He had let me see, he had the team in 5th when the league was suspended, and then Copa por Mexico, he took him to the final when they beat America 4-3, I think, and then they lose to Cruz Azul. So he was doing pretty good, and then he gets COVID. He misses the first 3 games. He comes back and he loses one, and they boot him. But I think there's some other stuff going there. I don't think they kicked him out for results that he wasn't even a part of.
I'm going to apologize for getting Joel going again.
Oh man,
I'm kidding.
you warmed me up, dude.
No, I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding.
For sure.
I'm kidding, but no,
No,
yeah.
because we're looking at this club that it's like it just sucks how much it's affected by things that are outside of the sporting. You know, going way back to Vergara and how Angelica was doing moves just to benefit her to make money, selling tapatio and doing things like that. And so this is a club that's just been getting beat from the outside, from the inside, I should say. Man, its own owners have been putting a hurt on it, and the whole thing with Leaño, and the rumors are that the Leaño family's been like putting money because Chivas been bleeding for a while, and that they've been like helping pay off stuff. So I have to believe there's some truth to that.
For sure. Pastor, you got any last minute closing thoughts for us?
No, I think that Puebla beats Masatlan, and out of the other 3 teams, the striped teams win, Los Rayados, from Chivas to Monterrey to Necaxa. I think Cruz
Interesting.
Azul has really been gone down since losing Charlie Rodriguez. He was a big connection as far as getting that game flow going and connecting with Antuna. And another thing is they have not found a replacement for Cabecita Rodriguez. So I don't even think Necaxa is the underdog. If anything, I take them as favorites compared to what we've seen in the last, 5, 6 games.
Yeah, Cabecita's such a great player, man. Although as a Chiva, I don't mind. I don't miss him. He would always score against them. Um, yeah, man. What I want to ask Al Pastor, what's your take on Darcamon? Because I know he's been tied to Chivas. Would that be a coach you would like seeing, or
Man, Larcamon, he should have struck while he was hot. America wanted him, Chivas wanted him, like you mentioned. People wanted him at La Selección. Now America has found salvation with Tano, Chivas with Cadena. Selección, it seems like Tata's gonna be in there for a minute, and if Tata does leave, I have a big feeling Piojo's gonna get another chance. So yeah, he went from poster boy coach of the league to his team valiendo madres también as far as Puebla going downhill. I think he lost a lot of weight in the market.
he did? But he would have had to quit after that season because you can't coach more than one team. The league makes you wait to the next. So he was sort of like in a tough spot.
No, he
I
should just done the Matias like when Chipper was coach. He should just done the pre-contract beforehand.
no. I mean within the league, like if you're coaching a team in Liga MX, you can't jump to another one that same season. You have to wait for the next.
For sure. Joeli, what's your closing thought for the night?
Oh, I did closing rant, man. But just keep it quick. I think I trust the Pelaez proceso, man. I think there's been a lot. He's been attacked a lot and blamed for a lot, but I've seen improvement in Chivas, where at least they're up there, man. They finished sixth, which is pretty good compared to how they had been doing. If the league had, because they moved the league to 12 teams, but the last seasons, if things just played out regular, they would have been going in straight to Liguilla, except for that time they booted them to ninth because the league stole the points to give them to Atlas. That's another story. Um, but yeah, I think they have something to build on. I just think ultimately they will need to sign players, and I don't know how they're gonna go around that because they haven't been able to bring anyone of value since probably Alexis Vega, and then who they might lose soon. So I think that's something they need to work on.
And if they don't sign anyone, get rid of Saldivar and give that chance to Chevy Martinez. No way Chevy is worse than Saldivar. If anything, he'll turn out to be a baller.
He was he injured? Because we were wondering what happened to him. I know they had been.
He was out for like a year with a tragic injury.
Oh man, yeah, that sucks.
Haven't heard from him since, but I agree. I think Traffic Cone would be better out there on the pitch than Saldivar. We'll see what happens with Alexis Vega and Godinho. I think now they are eligible to sign with any club now. So Chivas need to get on that. Want to thank everyone for hopping on Twitter Spaces tonight. It was action packed. We had YouTube chat as well, and can't wait to see what happens this week with Seattle and Pumas and the repachaje. We'll see if we get some upsets. But I hope everyone has a great night, and we will catch you in the next one.